Wrestling fans, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble!
And now, please welcome at this time your hosts, Graham GSM Matthews and RJ Marceau. You're listening to the next era of wrestling radio. This is WrestleRant Radio.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WrestleRant Radio here today for Thursday, October 3rd, 2024. I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well and having a great week so far. Today was going to be the day I was going to air my exclusive interview with the former showrunner and writer and the mastermind behind Low-Key Season 1 and 2, The Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange 2, and Heels, now airing on Netflix. Michael Waldron, he's a great dude. We had a great chat a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to put that interview here on the show probably next week. I'm going to bump it back again because we got into so much here today with Mr. Marceau, talking the new AEW Warner Brothers Discovery deal that was made official yesterday. It was probably made official a while ago, but it was officially announced to the public yesterday. So we get into all of that, the future of pay-per-views and streaming and the prices and all this other crazy economical stuff here at the beginning of WrestleRant Radio in a few short minutes. But I do want to mention this before we get going with Mr. Marceau, though. WrestleRant Radio celebrating 11 years on the airwaves exactly from this coming Tuesday, October 8th. And it was on a Tuesday, too, that the show actually premiered, because the 2024 calendar matches the 2013 calendar. It was on that Tuesday specifically. 11 years ago, I started this very show. And in honor of October marking 11 years of WrestleRant Radio, for the very first time, WrestleRant is now on Pro Wrestling Tees. Grab your very first WrestleRant tee over at ProWrestlingTees.com/WrestleRant. We got our first shirt up. I think it's a cool shirt. It's got the design, the logo, established 2010 underneath. Best way to support the show and support the brand is by buying a t-shirt right now over on ProWrestlingTees.com/WrestleRant. I appreciate all the support of the show, the site, all the stuff that I do in the past 10, 11 years. I mean, I started doing this show 11 years ago. I've been doing WrestleRant, the website, previously Next Era Wrestling, for almost 15 years now. That was 14 years ago. I started writing for Bleacher Report 14 years ago as well. The WrestleRant brand, the name I started in 2011. So a lot of different anniversaries, but you could support everything I do by just buying a shirt. It would be cool. And the design itself, like I said, I think is pretty sweet too. So I appreciate Pro Wrestling Tees for allowing me into their family. And it's now easier than ever to show your support by buying some merch today. And the link is also available at the top of the website over at WrestleRant.com. Just click on store. It will direct you right to the website. So yeah, we have a lot to get into here today between the AEW Warner Brothers Discovery deal, a Raw review from Monday, Bad Blood predictions coming up on Saturday, NXT on CW thoughts from Tuesday night. AEW did have, on a related note to AEW, they did have their Dynamite 5-year anniversary episode last night. I thought it was good. I was honestly expecting better. I mean, granted, they didn't really announce much in advance. I did watch the show live for a change. Typically, I don't. I typically watch Dynamite like either later on in the night, delayed, or the next day. I watched it as it aired, and I thought it was a good show. I thought the opener with Ricochet and Will Ospreay was a lot of fun, as you would expect. Didn't quite reach the level of what I was expecting or hoping for, but they did have that lame DQ, draw finish, interference, whatever. Obviously setting up a rematch for a later date, but they do a lot of draws and time limit draws and bullshit like that, so it was fucking annoying. But the match was good. I thought Danielson and Okada, the main event, was fun. Didn't love like the distraction finish and the fact that the Continental title was only on the line for like the first 20 minutes. At that point, why even make it a fucking title match? But again, I thought that was a well-wrestled main event. Everything in the middle I thought was good. I thought Britt Baker and Serena Deeb had a pretty good match. Hangman Adam Page and Juice Robinson having a quality contest. Juice Robinson losing, and then Jay White returning afterward, I thought was well done. It was a good show. Honestly, my favorite part of the show, aside from the opener, may have been MVP introducing Shelton Benjamin to the AEW audience. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to that Hurt Business, Hurt Syndicate, whatever you want to call it, reunion in AEW. I saw from Fightful Select last night, earlier today, that Bobby Lashley is indeed signed to AEW and that he will probably be arriving very, very soon. So I'm looking forward to that. But we have a lot to get into here today between the AEW, Warner Brothers, Discovery stuff, Raw, NXT, Bad Blood, all of which I mentioned previously. We're going to discuss all of it right now with Mr. Marceau. Brother, what's going on?
Doing good, how are you?
Doing well. We finished that Mr. McMahon documentary. I mean, I say I did. You pretty much finished it last week. We wrapped up the call and you had like 20 minutes left, but I know we discussed it last week. Your overall thoughts on the documentary, because I thought overall it was well done. I'll have my full thoughts on it on a different platform in the next couple of days, but did you enjoy it? And did you learn anything? Because probably not, because I didn't really learn much personally.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Like you said, I didn't really learn much. I feel like they could have probably went a little bit deeper in, like, Vince McMahon himself. I feel like it was more centered around, like, the character. I feel like we learned nothing about Vince, the person, which I feel like that was kind of like the whole point of the documentary. But, I mean, I definitely think it's worth a watch, but I think that was one thing I took out of it that they should have focused a little bit more on.
No, I agree. I think, especially we mentioned it last week, I'm sure, when we were discussing our first impressions of it. But, within the first literally minute or two of the documentary, they ask Vince, we'd love to know the real stories. He goes, oh, you're not going to get the real stories, pal. That's just how it works. And it's like, okay, I guess. And then for the rest of the documentary, you kind of see him dancing around certain answers or giving certain answers. And as we were just discussing before I hit record here, I thought a lot of the one-liners and the way he just made himself look worse. And I said to you last week when I just saw, from what I saw in the first two episodes, after he was complaining or his representative was complaining, whoever it was that put out that tweet on his account last Monday or Wednesday, whenever that came out, before the release of the documentary that last week, he was saying, oh yeah, the editing tricks made me look worse. No, the editing was amazing, and the editing did not make him look any worse than he already made himself. So, like I said, it's worth watching now on Netflix. I would actually implore non-wrestling fans to check it out. Has your dad checked it out yet, or no? Not yet.
Not yet, but I recommended it.
I feel like he'd really enjoy it. Obviously, he is a wrestling fan, but I feel like for people that aren't in the know as much as like we are, I feel like they might enjoy it or find it even more fascinating than we did. So, definitely check that out. But speaking of news, though, on the AEW front, it was just announced yesterday. This is fresh off the presses. AEW reportedly, not even reportedly, confirmed to have extended their deal with Warner Brothers Discovery for 4 more years. A lot of terms in the deal, a lot of stuff I'm probably forgetting here. But I think it's valued at around $180 million a year, which is a massive increase from what it was previously. They had announced that Dynamite and Collision, no mention of Rampage, which makes it sound like it might be going away. There is a Rampage this week. They set up a match for Rampage on Dynamite last night. So it's not like it's completely canceled as of right now, but it probably will be going away soon in favor of that Shockwave show, which we discussed a couple of weeks ago on Fox. So thankfully they're not like, I don't think they're adding an hour. I think they're taking away Rampage, which currently airs on one of the Warner networks, and replacing it with Shockwave, seemingly on Fox or FS1, whatever. So they're going to be airing Dynamite and Collision, I guess, simultaneously with those shows on TNT and TBS respectively, on Max starting in January. So I guess for people that don't have cable or you can't watch it through YouTube TV or whatever, you can watch it on Max. But speaking of Max, they did announce this was like the big thing that people were waiting for, pay-per-views, because I guess you can't watch them on Bleacher Report anymore, which sucks for me. That's obviously how I watch it now. But I guess currently you can watch it through Triller, you can watch it through YouTube and payperview.com on traditional pay-per-view, whatever. But starting at some point in 2025, they didn't say exactly when, you can watch the pay-per-views also on Max, but at a discounted rate. Which, I have my own thoughts on that. I don't really think, why not just include it with Max? It's like Peacock. Peacock's $10. Max is more than $10. So is Peacock without ads. But why not just offer it as part of the service? Why offer it at like $20? That's in addition to what you're already paying for Max, but whatever. And in addition to the whole AEW library will be up there, I guess in January they said as well. So a lot of terms there, a lot of details, but nothing but a positive for the business to see AEW continue despite qualms about the product itself, attendance, ratings, shit that we've talked about before. But any first impressions upon hearing that news, what it means for the company, and just any of the terms of the deal that might stick out to you?
Yeah, it just depends on, I guess I would say my first, question would be, how much the increase compared to what they're getting already. 170 is good. I know that their roster alone, I can only imagine what the budget for that is on top of TV and everything else. So, I don't know how much they already got. I think depending on how much they're getting now compared to how much, they keep bringing in talent. So I can only imagine what the talent budget is, running TV every week. all that stuff. I don't know all the economics, but I mean, I think going to one platform, like you said, with Max is a good first step. I mean, it's on Bleacher Report and then all that other stuff. It's kind of different. But when you said the whole pay-per-view kind of like you're paying for Max and top of the pay-per-view, I mean, that's kind of what UFC does now with ESPN. Like, you have to pay for ESPN Plus.
Oh, really?
And the pay-per-view is still like $50, $60. I mean, it's not like it's a discounted. I mean, I think if you pay like a month in advance for the show, I think you can save $10 on it. But I mean, at that point, I mean, you're kind of committing, and who knows what's going on at that point. When you're spending $60, what's the difference between 50 and 60 at that point?
Yeah.
I mean, it's similar to what they do already. Like you said, it's kind of non-attractive compared to what they do at Peacock. But assuming once that Peacock's deal, WWE will go something similar. But so you're paying for the service. It's like a double paywall, which kind of is annoying, but it is kind of like I said. That's something UFC already does. But I mean, we'll see what happens. Like Bleacher Report was obviously a free app. You're just paying for the pay-per-view. Not sure exactly what Max is nowadays. Like I said, I think it may be $20, but
without ads,
so $20 on top of, I don't know, $40, $50. That's like $60 a month. So it's kind of crazy. But like you said, I think it's a good start. Like I said, I don't know the whole economics. When they keep bringing in more people in, running TV, like 170 sounds great, but I mean, I don't know all the economics. I'm not quite sure exactly how they're making out. Like Tony, like realistically for him, it's like he's like, oh, we need an increase to keep going, but it's like he's got like unlimited money, so it doesn't. Yeah. Unless his dad said like no mas, then I guess like he'd be fine because I mean his dad like he is rich, but I mean it is mostly his dad's money. They did kind of leak out that Warner Brothers does have a stake in the company, which he said before they didn't. So like that's kind of interesting.
I saw that. Yeah.
But besides that, like I said, I think the money wise, like they'll keep going until Shad says no more.
Yeah, as far as the stake thing goes, I had seen that it wasn't true, like they had said after the fact. I don't know why that was included in the report, so it might be, it might not be. I don't know why it would be included in the report if it wasn't true. So maybe it is, and they're just, I don't know, kayfabe in the reporter, I'm not sure. But hopefully we find out more about that in due time. Compared to what they're making now, I think it's a massive increase. I thought for whatever reason, $50 million sounds low. They couldn't have been making $50 million a year as it was. I think from a source, I think it was WrestleVotes, which is actually pretty credible. They said 180 last night is what they will be making. Compared to what it is now, I feel like it's maybe 100 million more. I could be just making that shit up. For whatever reason, I feel like it's a lot more. But I think the key here, and I could be wrong, but I think the new deal makes them profitable because they've been around for 5 years now and they haven't been necessarily profitable until now because they had that TV deal, but they were spending a lot more than what they were making for that TV deal. So, I mean, that might have been a factor. I'm not going to say that, his dad told him no. If they didn't make a massive increase, then they would have still been in the red to a certain extent. So I think the deal is a big improvement from what they were doing before. As far as the pay-per-view stuff is concerned, I think you're right, though. I think it's kind of too soon to tell. I don't love the idea of, I already have Max and whatever. I just use my brother's account. He has fucking Max. And then also adding on like $30, $40 on top. They didn't say exactly what the discounted rate would be. But I would imagine, to your point, it might be $20. Because I think the pay-per-views as they are currently, if you just buy them, might be $55, I think, on Bleacher Report and shit. I don't know. It might be somewhere around there. So let's say they offer it for $40. Max itself is probably $15, $20 without ads. That's $60, so it's the price of a normal pay-per-view. You're not really saving money. It's probably the exact same thing. But like you said, though, people were complaining about that, and understandably so, especially compared to WWE. That's the first thing you're going to think of. But like you said, UFC is already doing that model through ESPN and whatnot, where you have to pay for that service and then pay for the pay-per-view on top of it, obviously slightly discounted or whatever it ends up coming out to. That probably, it looks bad compared to WWE, but UFC through TKO is working with WWE. That seems to be the way of the future. So, AEW's way of doing things might not be considered the wrong way of doing it come a year or two when WWE's done on Peacock. We have at least another year and a half of that. I think their Peacock deal runs out in early 2026. I think they signed a 5-year deal in 2021. But that's got to be the way of the future, right? That we're going back to paying $50, $60 for these pay-per-views. And in AEW, it was different because they only had 4 a year at one point. But now it's back to like monthly pay-per-views, especially revving on up into 2025. They have one in January. In the next couple months alone, they have one this month. They have Full Gear next month. World's End in December. Wrestle Dream or Kingdom, whatever it is, in January. I don't know if they have one in February. I think they do. I think they have their Australia Grand Slam show. So they have monthly pay-per-views that are going to be $50, $60 a month if you include the max subscription. We don't know the exact rate yet, but is this the way of the future for pay-per-view as it comes to wrestling compared to the $10 we were paying for the WWE Network a decade ago?
I mean, I think so. I mean, the problem is I feel like for WWE specific, it's like you went from the $50 a month or $40, whatever it was back in the day, to then $10 a month for just a service. Then you're going to go back for a service, and like I said, like it's kind of like a double paywall. I mean, I'll be interested to see what the numbers look like after the fact, if that's their way they're going in.
Yeah.
I mean, UFC for me specifically, like normally if I do purchase a show, I usually watch it with a friend, and you can, even if we're not together, for ESPN Plus specifically, you can watch, two people can watch on the same account at the same time. So technically, like, if it's $60, you can split it with someone, so it's $30.
Yeah.
I actually learned that from Greg. Greg actually told me that.
Yeah,
I did not
smart.
know that at first, so it's a good little cheat there. But like you said, I feel like for us, like maybe they'd be smart, and if they're going back to like a pay-per-view kind of like mold of actually paying per show. I mean, I think I'd be fine with like the big four maybe being like $50-$60, but like I'm not paying $60 for fucking Fastlane. I'm sorry.
That's the thing. I mean, do you think maybe they're going to justify that price range for WWE specifically? I don't know about AEW, but with WWE, do you think they'll justify that by like, hey, the product's hot or the shows are better, so it is worth $60? To me, it's not, especially after paying $10 for 10 years. But even when the product was shit, I just don't feel like going back to... That's a pretty dramatic increase. From $10 to $60 is pretty dramatic.
No, I agree. Like I said, I think that's why I think you'd have to weigh it on the event itself. Like I said, I wouldn't feel justified paying $60 for Fastlane or Bad Blood. That's something we're getting for $10 now.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's plenty of times I bought UFC shows and they fucking sucked, and I was like, I can't believe I just spent $60 on that. So man,
Yeah.
at least with WWE, you kind of know what you're gonna get. So I guess it could kind of justify it more. I think it's more the fact that we were paying so small increments for so long, and then it's like now they're expecting you to pay all this amount.
Yeah, not only that, too, but, like, it would be one thing. I don't think we discussed that on the air. I think we were discussing something else. But, you know, like with the Red Sox and just really any company that will, like, gradually increase the ticket prices for whatever. I mean, that's just the way the world works, where, like, it goes up $1, the next year it goes up $2, as opposed to doing it all at once, because that's how you get fucking piss people off. That's what they would be doing here. Like, it's not a gradual increase. Like, for all the streaming services we mentioned, Netflix, Max, HBO, Peacock, and all these other services, literally every single one is increased. I doubt any of them have stayed the same in the past 2, 3, 5 years. But they've all gone up, you know, gradually. It's still annoying, and it happens a lot. But people think, you know, the human mind is like, oh, it's only $1, and then it goes up $5 within 5 years, and that's another $15 if you count up all the other services and shit that you are signed up for. But for WWE to go like, hey, 1 month we're going to, you know, offer you the show on Peacock for $10, which is and they've had great pay-per-views since Triple H took over for the most part, to then being like, yeah, then you also got to pay $50 actually next month for fucking, like you said, Fastlane or, you know, whatever it's going to be, Extreme Rules, which has been gone, but you understand my point, would be pretty shitty in a word. So I don't know. They're going to have to navigate that. I feel like that is the way that they're going, though, especially if they see AEW is doing that, and UFC's already been doing it for a while, like you said. I think that's probably where we're going, and I hate to think that. All I'm going to say is enjoy it while it lasts for the next year and a half. $10 shows on Peacock, and hopefully by that point the product is still maybe not as white hot as it is right now for WWE. But, you know, with AEW, I think it could be a problem because they've had, I mean, to their credit, the product is ice cold TV-wise, but their pay-per-views are usually worth watching. They usually have, in my opinion anyway, pretty great pay-per-views. So they could be argued that they're worth $50, $60. $50, $60 a month, I don't know about that. When you're paying all out, you know, 2 weeks after All In, and that's $120 within 2 weeks, I don't know that. I don't know about that specifically, but it's something they're going to have to keep in mind going forward after people are, used to getting something for so long at such a discounted rate or getting only 4 pay-per-views a year. When you rev it up to fucking 12, or with WWE, you rev it up to $60 a month. That's pretty dramatic.
No, it's a lot. And like you said, I mean, if you're looking just from the outside perspective, it's like $60 a month. If they had a show every month, that's like over $1,000. It's almost $1,000 a month, a year paying on this. I feel like especially with the $60, if they're going that route for the pay-per-view, it's like, do you just? I mean, I guess they are kind of, like you said, white hot in attendance as well. But it's like you're already paying $60 at that point. You might as well just buy a ticket and go to the show if you're in your local thing. But like I said, I feel like tickets. It's not like the tickets are scarce at this point. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Like I said, I think that's the mold that's going to happen. But I mean, going from $9 to $10 or $9 or $10 a month to $60 when it was already. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I know that. But like I said, it's kind of like a catch-22 because it's not like the live attendance is like kind of shitty. So you're like, well, I'd rather just go at that point. Like, it'll probably be tough to get a ticket to go to the show as well. So
yeah,
I mean, it's a bad problem to have if you're like printing money, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because that's a whole other problem too. Not even, well, I mean, a problem for the fans, I guess, not really necessarily for WWE. We haven't really talked about it ourselves too much, but like, I haven't gone to the B pay-per-views. I haven't gone to any of the international shows, and when we do go, we're sitting in the press box anyway. But from what I understand, for a lot of the international shows, I mean, because they say during these shows, oh yeah, the highest grossing event of all time. It's like, this show, Bash in Berlin, why is that? And it's because you look at the ticket prices, and they're like fucking $300 in American money, for a ticket, which is fucking ridiculous. But because they don't get wrestling over there often, they can rev it up. And the problem is, and again, this is just natural common sense as far as financials go. If a majority of the consumers are willing to pay it, even if they're complaining about it, they're going to fucking do it. I mean, like, like we used to make jokes, I think, here on the show years ago. Remember when they were doing the cameos and Alexa Bliss's cameo was like $500? Dude, that's ridiculous. But there's an idiot out there willing to pay. I mean, maybe not anymore, which is why they stopped doing it. But there is an idiot out there willing to pay $500 to have her ask him how his day's going. I mean, that's just how it works.
It's just like you said, it's just like common sense economics. I mean, it's no different than like you go to a football game or something. It's like they're charging like $20 for a beer. People will bitch and complain, but guess what? People are still buying beer. So, I mean, at the end of the day, or it's like you charge $60, $70 to park your car. Like, that's like looking at it outside in, that's ridiculous, but people do it all the time. Like, it's a bitch, but if people are coming, then you get away with it.
They're still going, unless the attendance goes down or unless they need to come up with a new gimmick to bring more people in by decreasing some of these prices, which has happened. I mean, I've seen that with several things. I mean, that's what happened with movie theaters. Like, ticket prices went down for a while because they weren't bringing any people, so they would try new gimmicks and shit. That's just the way the world works and economics works, like you said. So, I don't know. We'll see. But they're not going to have that problem anytime soon. For Bad Blood, I heard the prices. I mean, I guess you can look it up right now. But I heard the prices were really high, and that's for a domestic show in Atlanta. So that might continue going forward, but again, if 10,000 people are there, they don't give a shit. They're still making money, and this is why they're so white hot right now financially, because they can rev up the prices, and the product is good enough for these people to justify paying a ticket, and that's just the way that it's going to, stay until they, come to a point where they don't have to do that anymore because the product will die down and not as many people will be there. Like for the AEW tickets, I don't know. They're not doing great attendance, so I don't know if their tickets are greatly decreased. I don't really pay too much attention to that sort of stuff. I know they used to offer really cheap tickets. Like we went to Dynamite and bought tickets 5 years ago, almost exactly. We went there to the second episode, and I think one of their gimmicks early on was like, oh yeah, we have the cheapest tickets around. They may have been like $20 for like good seats. I don't know. So
I mean, I'm looking at prices. I mean,
Bad Blood,
if it's resale or for Bad Blood, but they're fucking expensive.
What is it? What's like not like a front row, but like where we would sit in the 100 or 200 section.
I mean, if you're like in the 200s or like kind of like, I mean, like the balcony, I guess you'd say there's I mean, like I said, I don't know if they're resale, so they're probably going to be a little bit more, but the cheapest price on Ticketmaster right now is $268.
What?
It does say verified resale, but still, that's a lot of money.
That's unbelievable, dude. That's like twice the amount I paid for Mania in the last row a couple of years ago. That's crazy.
And like I said, I'm not sure the exact conversion, but like Vancouver for Survivor Series, it's like $240 Canadian. I don't know what that.
Oh, that's even more expensive. Definitely, because Canadian money is just I think it's valued at more or less. I mean, we went there, we know. I mean, that's just,
if you're getting like just like good seats, you're paying like
$300.
No, way more than that. Holy shit! I mean, if you're in the 100 section, for like these are like regular price tickets for like fucking $800.
What the fuck? That's
like,
crazy.
Who's got the money for this?
I know, that's nuts. That is, if wrestling fans are paying $800 for these tickets, I mean, that just seems unbelievable to me. I mean, did they sell out, or they only have a certain amount of tickets on sale, and these are just people reselling them for outrageous prices? Like, I would love to know what the logic is.
I don't know. Like I said, even like, dude, that's ridiculous. Even like, no, it's crazy. Even like Raw, when it comes to the Garden in December, it's like, you bought like a decent seat where we usually sit, they're like fucking $190.
That's crazy, man. For a fucking house show too, right?
No, it's for Raw.
Oh, for Raw.
Still,
okay.
I wouldn't pay $190 to go to Raw.
No, to sit there for, well, now 2 hours, but still, to watch Maxine Dupree versus Ivy Nile. Listen, no disrespect, but I'm all set. That just sounds crazy.
I mean, to get in for Saturday Night Main Event, you can get in for like $115. It's still pretty ridiculous if you ask me, but
that should be more expensive than the other ones, because that's a returning event, a bigger deal, especially if they stack the show. I mean,
but if you got a better seat, you're paying fucking $500.
Okay, that's just stupid.
Like I said, like, who's paying? That's what I don't get. Like, who's paying $500 to go to Raw or SmackDown?
I mean, well, yeah, I don't know. I've always wondered, I guess in just my mind, I've always wondered while watching Raw specifically, or SmackDown or whatever, I guess a lot of the people, if you sit in the front row or the front few rows and you're paying a ticket, I imagine those people, either it's their first time there or they just don't go at all or whatever. So as opposed to going every time they come to town, they'll just pay once, and they'll pay several hundred, maybe not now necessarily, because I'm sure it's more expensive now, as we just discussed, but like even a couple years ago, like ringside, I would never pay to sit ringside previously because it was just so fucking expensive. But I guess if you go once in a while, I'm the type of person to go every time they like to come to town, so that's just me. But I guess if you go quality over quantity, I guess that makes sense. I don't know what the justification is there. I don't know if I could pay $400 for a ticket. Oh yeah, what'd you pay for? Monday Night Raw, like, especially in 2019, like, that'd be ridiculous. I don't know.
I mean, I guess it just depends on how comfortable you're spending that much amount of money. I mean, I would not, but
yeah, I don't know. Like, I think when we went to Raw, the best Raw of 2019 with the wedding between Lana and Bobby Lashley, I think total tickets, because I think I got 5 total tickets for like us and Alexis and whoever else was there. It may have been like 100 something total, like for like 5 tickets. But I mean, that's just how it worked. That was, again, the world was different.
I just looked at Hartford for SmackDown, where we sat for that, probably $100 a ticket.
Ah, man, that's crazy. That is just wild, man. Whew, man. I mean, listen, they're making money hand over fist. I mean, God bless them. But if people keep paying it, and the product remains good, then it's going to keep happening. I mean, I would say it's highway robbery, but it's not really robbery if you consent to it and give them that money, because then you're going to these shows. I mean, man, I never really paid too much attention to their ticket prices, but that is fucking crazy. But on this
stuff, like you said, it's like you spend that much on tickets, and then like you're going to buy a shirt,
yeah,
you're going to pay to park and concessions. Like, it's a good chunk of change.
It is. At that point, I don't know if it would be equal, but I would just go to a bigger show, like a pay-per-view at that point or something. Unless you live in like bumfuck nowhere where they never really go and you have to kind of go, because it's like, oh, they won't be back for a long time. Otherwise, just go to a bigger show. Just wait for a pay-per-view, buy a fucking plane ticket at that point. I mean, it would probably end up being the same price to go to Raw down the street in Hartford or whatever, man. That's unreal. I enjoy Raw right now, but those prices are not justifiable to me personally. But they are going back to 2 hours starting this Monday. We had our final 3-hour Raw of 2024 this past week, and it was another very good show overall, I thought. Jey Uso, the all-new Intercontinental Champion, sporting a new belt, by the way. It's the same belt, but they added blue to it to kind of make it look like more like the egg-shaped belt from like 15 years ago, which is cool. I like the white one more, but that was a nice throwback to when, we started watching wrestling, so I thought that was cool. But Bron Breakker confronting Jey as I expected, but what I did not expect was that he did not attack Jey Uso. So I thought that was interesting, and a lot of people are already on the train of, he's going babyface, he's going for the World Heavyweight title, because he can encounter Gunther later on. I'm still of the mindset that was a red herring, because I would be shocked if they gave him Gunther anytime soon. Just to feed Braun to Gunther, then what does he do? I just feel like that would be way too rushed. Unless they're planting the seeds for Mania, which is possible. I could definitely see them doing that. But otherwise, I would not jump to conclusions quite that quick, thinking that Braun's going babyface and immediately being thrust into the World Heavyweight title picture. I am still thinking that he will go back after that IC title, destroy Jey Uso one of these weeks, and he will get that belt back. But what are you thinking, Mr. Marceau? Jey Uso, your guy, the new champion, gets confronted by Braun, shows him a sign of respect, and then walks away. So what were you thinking after watching that segment?
Yeah, no, I thought I like the belt. I'll start off with that. I like the belt. Like I said, I think the blue is like a nice little touch. I mean, nothing crazy, but I think it adds a little pop. It was all gold before, so give it a little bit more, a little extra little pizzazz, I guess. A little extra look at it. You're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. It's got some blue in there now.
It's nice.
So that was a good touch. I was stunned, honestly. I thought Braun was easily going to spear him, and we'd keep going, and Jey would lose the belt next week, but seemingly nothing came out of it. And I mean, I think, like I said, he could go babyface. I know Jay's facing Xavier Woods next week for the belt, but I mean, guess you could start Braun going babyface. You're putting him versus Gunther at WrestleMania, but definitely interesting. I thought we were going to get a little bit more here, but seemingly we got him and Xavier next week. Maybe he comes out after the fact and spears Jay and everything I'm saying. I look like an idiot, but
yeah.
As of now, it looks like he's moving on to brighter and newer things.
Yeah. Do you think it would be too quick if they turned him babyface and put him in the main event scene? Because I feel like if you are going to do that, the earliest they should do it is I don't even know who Gunther faces at Mania, to be honest, because I think we're getting Punk and Rollins. I don't know what you do with Drew. I don't think we get Drew and Gunther. We've seen that a few times already in triple threats, and they had a singles match at SummerSlam. I guess you could do that. That doesn't really interest me personally. I mean, Braun, if he's a babyface, Ilya's hurt. We'll talk about that later, so I don't think he was going to get that spot anyway, but you can't go with him. I think it's too soon, but if they really want to shoot him up the card that quickly, I don't know. I guess that could be a possibility. I've said I poo-pooed on that idea for the last couple weeks. Before they even teased this year, people were asking me if I could see that happening. I said no. They might be doing it. So is it too quick, or do you think it's the right move?
I don't think it's too quick for Braun. I mean, I think I could see him being world champion within the next year, so I wouldn't say it's too soon. I mean, it'd be interesting they just turn him babyface, and what do you do with him in the interim? I mean, it is, I guess, October, going November. I mean, I don't know exactly what you do with him, but I mean, I think him versus Gunther would make sense at Mania, and I think it'd be fine if he won the belt there.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how they book it. It depends on, maybe they want to turn him now so he can continue to build momentum heading into the Royal Rumble and he can win that. I mean, it's October, so there is time to start building him up. And, I would put him in a feud with like Jay again, like another top tier player towards the top of the card so he can continue beating people like that. I don't know if we get like Drew and Breakker coming out of Bad Blood, but hey, you know what? It's a possibility. So I'm still not completely sold. I still think he turns on Jay. I'm with you. I might look like an idiot too. I still think he might come out on Monday, attack Jey Uso, and we continue that feud. But we resume that rivalry, but I guess time will tell. But on that same note, they're stacking next week's show. Their first 2-hour Raw in over a dozen years. Like you said, they're doing Jey Uso and Xavier Woods for the Intercontinental Championship. Xavier beat Rey Mysterio on Raw this week. Further, more of a tease than ever before of a heel turn for Xavier on his own. When he unmasked Rey, took advantage and pinned him. And he actually beat him, which was cool. And then he also cost Kofi the win against Chad later on, unintentionally, quote unquote, we don't know. But he's getting a title shot next week on Raw with Jey, which is cool. And to your point, I mean, you were right. We talked about this last week. I said, There's no way they do Gunther and Sami on Raw. I think that'd be a mistake. Why would they not do that on the pay-per-view? The pay-per-view's the night or two before. Well, they're doing it on Raw. They're doing it on Raw that Monday. And you called that. You said you had no issue with it. And you know what? I've come around to the idea that it's fine, because if you do it on the pay-per-view on Sunday, it's not opening and it's not main eventing, because you have that massive tag team match and the massive Hell in the Cell match. Those two matches are bigger than this. The one world title match that would be on the show, and it feels like a big show as it is. We'll talk about Bad Blood later on, but I'm okay with them not doing it on Sunday. They're doing it on Raw instead. So yeah, Gunther, Sami next week. I don't think this is a one and done. I think we get like a fuck finish and they set up a rematch for like Crown Jewel. But your thoughts on Gunther and Sami for Raw next week, as well as Jay and Xavier? I think that's a nice attraction as well for the IC title.
Yeah, I think it's going to be two nice little matches. Like I said, on the first 2-hour show of Raw, it should fucking breeze by, I assume, which will be nice. And I mean, I don't think I see titles changing hands here, but I think it's, like I said, we'll get further into that. That's that Xavier Woods heel turn or whatever's going on there. I don't think he'll win. And then, like you said, I'd be surprised if we get a clean finish with Gunther and Sami. And like I said, I would set up for the next pay-per-view coming up. So I think it's a good start for the 2-hour Raw. Like I said, it should seemingly breeze by.
Yeah, I hope so. I would think so. It's their first, not only their first 2-hour Raw in 12 years, but I think it's the first, I don't know. I wasn't watching Raw back in the 90s, but it's their first Raw to start at 8 and end at 10, because typically it was 9 to 11, and people are like, oh, why not do a 9 to 11 like back in the day? No, I don't give a fuck. Have it start sooner so it can end at 10 o'clock. Like Bad Blood on Saturday, I'm not watching it live, but it starts at 6 p.m., which is because of the UFC show later that night. And I think the Rumble, actually Greg told me a couple of days ago, that's going to be starting at 6 too in Indianapolis, and I was going to say January. It's actually February 1st. So that might be another thing where they've already bumped up the start time to 7 p.m. It might start being 6 p.m., which, you know what? Like I said, I don't give a fuck. That's better than, I guess it depends. If you're doing something, you try to get home for 8, but I don't know. I like it when they end sooner, so they're not ending at like 11, 12 like the AEW pay-per-views do. That's just way too fucking late.
Wait, so you said the Raw Rumble's at 6?
I think so. Well, maybe that's local time, though.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it right here. It looks like, nothing announced yet, but there's a UFC card that same day, but it's in Saudi. So assuming that would probably be a 2 o'clock card normally, be over around 5. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah,
they get you, well, I don't know. I think Eastern time, I'm an idiot, but I don't know what time zone Indianapolis is. Is it the same time zone?
Indianapolis is
Is it Central?
Central?
Where was the last SummerSlam? That was Cleveland. That was still Eastern. I was surprised.
I think Indianapolis is Central. If I'm taking a guess, it could be East Coast. I have no time zones. Let me pull it up. I got the computer open now. Let's see.
He might have.
For some reason, now that I'm thinking out loud, I think it might be Eastern. But
I was surprised Cleveland was Eastern.
It could be. Fuck. The one I'm looking at goes right down the middle of Indiana.
Yeah. Well, it's Indianapolis.
This one here is saying it says East Coast.
Okay. I would believe that. I think it's near Cleveland, and that doesn't necessarily mean it couldn't be Central, but
confirmed Eastern time zone.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah. Well, I was gonna say maybe he said 6 to me because it's in person at 6, but no, if it's Eastern, that means it starts at 6 Eastern as well.
Yeah.
So maybe they just want to capitalize off the UFC thing, because if this UFC show's in Saudi. And it could be over, like you said.
Yeah, usually in the Saudi shows, the main card's right around starts at 2.
Yeah,
so it should be over around 4:35.
Yeah,
so.
And then you can have the WWE show at 7 or 8, but I guess they don't. I don't know. I guess they want to start
earlier the better, if you ask me.
Hey, no, I don't. Yeah, I'm all for it.
Even if it ends at 10 o'clock, I'll take a 6 to 10 all day instead of 7 to 11.
All right, yeah, 8 to 12 or whatever. But hey, listen, I'm not going back to Mania. I'm going back to MetLife at some point, but Mania 35, 12:30, main event ending is fucking ridiculous. The fact they used to do that shit is just, it's crazy. That we talk about we're going back to pay-per-view prices, $80. I'm not going back to fucking midnight pay-per-views. You could fuck off with that shit. I'm done with that. Especially being there, it's just awful. So yeah, no, 6 to 10. Hey, no complaints here. That's perfectly fine with me. I mentioned this a moment ago, but Ilja Dragunov out injured for 6 to 9 months. They said they tore an ACL. He got hurt on a house show. I don't know if it was. I thought it was a show across. I don't know. I don't know where the house show was, honestly. But he got hurt in a match with Gunther, and they said on Raw they believe it to be a torn ACL. Maybe they were hemming it up and it's a kayfabe injury. They've done that before. It seems like he will indeed be out for a long time, though. So that sucks because he really hasn't done a whole lot since being called up to Raw, but it looked like they were getting something going with him and Finn Balor in the Judgment Day, and that would have been fucking cool. And then he gets hurt. So anyone thinking, oh, he's going to win the Rumble and face Gunther at Mania, I don't think that was going to happen anyway. But now it's definitely not happening because he's out until at least after Mania, most likely. So, your thoughts on Ilja Dragunov getting hurt and your just overall assessment of what we've seen so far with him on the Raw roster, and if it's been fine, if it's been disappointing, just your thoughts on that.
No, I mean, I think he's had a good Raw run so far. I mean, like I said, I feel like they kind of put him a little bit under Braun, which I feel like The Rock was up Braun, so I feel like it makes sense. I mean, I think he's had some good matches. I don't know if I would say he has or hasn't connected. I feel like he hasn't really done anything of substance so far. So I feel like that can kind of, when you're twisting in the wind, I mean, it can hurt you a little bit. But I feel like he's been he's won a good amount of matches. He's involved. They said seemingly he's going to be involved in the Finn Balor Judgment Day stuff, which is top card of Raw. So I think he was getting there. I mean, not everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows off the bat, but I think he was doing well and seemingly put in plans for something at the top of the card. So I wouldn't say he had a great but bad run at all. Looking here, looks like he got hurt at a house show in Columbus, Georgia.
Oh, Georgia, okay.
So not overseas. I thought it was overseas.
I thought it was overseas too. Yeah.
Got the cage match pulled up. Says Columbus, Georgia. So,
there you go. Cage match is never wrong, according to Tony Khan. So there you go.
But no, I think he's had a decent run. I think he was in plans to be, like you said, top card of Raw, so I don't have any issues there either.
Yeah, I think they're just, I mean, I don't want to make it sound like I'm making excuses for them, but I feel like they're taking their time with him, because I said this on hashtag yesterday. It has been slightly underwhelming to me because he was such a top star in NXT, and I wanted to see him do more in the Raw roster in his first 4 months, like we saw with Bron Breakker. But like you said, he was right underneath Braun. You can't push everyone at once. You can't have everyone in a concurrent storyline. Not everyone's going to be doing something. I mean, you might think that, like, oh, the Attitude Era had that. I mean, not exactly. I mean, it was close. Everyone was over back then, but it was just a different time. I mean, they could be doing more. They could have been doing more with Ilja, but I wasn't, like, devastated thinking, like, oh, yeah, like, he's fucked. Like, at least he was on the show having good matches, and he did a fair amount of stuff, especially with the Bron Breakker stuff and the IC title feud, and he had a really good triple threat a couple weeks ago. I think he was in that 4-way, actually, number one contenders match with Jey Uso that he ended up winning. So, I think he'll be fine. It's not like Cameron Grimes, who was literally just off the show, not doing shit. I think Ilja would have been fine had he still been around, and I think the Finn Balor match would have been cool. Hopefully he can pick up where he left off, or at least doing more than what he was doing before he left, when he comes back at some point in 2025. One last thing on Raw, obviously a wild main event, last monster standing match, last man standing, whatever you want to call it, between Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. Very good match here. I thought it was fun for what it was. Again, a lot like the entire feud, taking their brawl all around the arena, doing some crazy shit. They did indeed pull off the ring collapse spot. They teased it a week or two ago. They finally went through with it on Monday's Raw. It did not look great. It looked good. I know I saw that report from yesterday saying the company wasn't, overly thrilled with it, and I can't blame them just because I think at least one or two of the turnbuckles stayed intact. So it looked cool, but I mean, the first one will always be the best, and we've seen it 4 times. But I think it's cool when they do it every once in a while, because there's a big segment of fans that are watching Raw that have never seen it before, and it always gets a big pop. So I thought those two guys were the perfect two people for it. And then on top of that, Seth Rollins comes out, costing Bronson Reed the win and allowing Braun Strowman to go over and have his hand raised in the end. So wasn't expecting that. I mean, Bronson Reed telegraphing it with that promo earlier in the show. I didn't love that. I thought that was I don't think he should have done that. I think that kind of made it more obvious that Rollins would be coming out. But when the show started, I didn't think he would be there. I also don't love that Bronson Reed lost, but he didn't get pinned, and as long as he beats Rollins, at least in their first match, I don't think he wins that feud, but at least if he can at least get something over Rollins after losing here, that's what's important to me. So it was a nice win for Braun, who I think tore his groin, which is why he was walking around gingerly at the end there. Hopefully he's okay. But your thoughts on this chaotic ending to Raw on Monday? Bronson Reed losing to Braun and Rollins coming out, ring collapse. What were your thoughts?
Sorry, I was just taking the hat out of my mouth because I was eating it. We both said Bronson was going to win. He did not. Like you said, Jesus. I mean, I'm glad Rollins got involved, and that was the reason he lost.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the fact that he lost, though. I think Bronson could have won, and Rollins could have came out after the fact. And I mean,
no, I agree.
I feel like that kind of yes, like we get the feud, but I feel like he kind of needed the win. He feel like he hasn't really won that often. Like he's been beating people up, but he hasn't really won a ton of matches.
Mm-hmm.
So didn't love that. The ring collapse didn't look great either. I mean, I'm assuming now compared to when they did it originally, they probably try to make it safer. If the ring's in the collapse, would it kind of like, I don't know, kind of just went poof. I feel like it didn't really look amazing on TV, and I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, maybe nowadays it's not as gimmicked as it's probably more gimmicked than it was before. Maybe just before they just untied a few screws and said, "Fellas, you'll be fine." And maybe nowadays they need to take more liberties on safety, but it did not look good at all. And then, like I said, him losing kind of, I get like it's him and Rollins, but you kind of said it. He needs to win at least the first match. If he loses the first match, he might as well just go back to New Japan. I mean, what the fuck are we doing here?
He's got to win. Listen, I think he's been made to look great. He's been booked very well in the past month or two since he initially attacked Rollins. But the guy still needs to win a fucking match. Braun Strowman did not need to win that match. It was a great moment, and it was like...
Dude, he hasn't won a match since fucking August 12th against The Miz.
Yeah, I mean... Come on, man. I mean, you can... I don't know. I think that you can give him a win over Braun Strowman, and then Rollins comes out next week. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, maybe he's about to go after... Who's the champion? Who's the fucking world champion? Gunther. I don't know. Maybe he teases...
Well, he's not going to go after Gunther.
Maybe Gunther and Sami have their match, and then, Bronson's at ringside, and then Rollins comes out and beats the shit out of him. Maybe he goes after Punk, and then he goes... I don't know. Something like that. It's totally feasible that there was another way they could have done that without doing what they did. I was just like, Rollins comes out and gives him the curb stomp. I audibly was like, what the fuck? I mean, really? Like, it was cool, but like, you couldn't have just given him that one win. I don't know. Braun Strowman, amazingly, I didn't know this. This was a pretty impressive stat. The commentators mentioned he's actually undefeated in last man standing matches. And I was like, is that true? And I looked it up. He's beaten Sami Zayn in a last man standing match. Kane, who was the other one? Roman Reigns.
Big Show?
May have been Big Show. They had another one in the last couple of years where he beat someone in the last man standing match. I don't know who it was. Nah, it wasn't Brock. I don't know, but he's like 5-0 in last man standing matches, which kind of went unnoticed during the show on Monday. But yeah, I like the ending to the show. I wasn't a big fan of that outcome. I think he'll be fine, but he's got to beat Rollins. Like you said, if he doesn't beat Rollins, at least in that first match, I know he's not winning the feud. Rollins will feud with Punk. This is just to keep Rollins busy. I get it, but he's got to win at least one match. Like, he's got to win at least the first one and put him over as a credible threat. Because if he loses this feud, doesn't win any of the matches, then he's, like you said, back to New Japan, because it's right back to what he was doing previously before this Braun stuff started, and that was nothing. The guy was doing a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, and even if he does get a win on Rollins, he's still kind of have the cap, but, like, he can't just go back to doing nothing. So
yeah, I agree.
Even if he loses the Rollins at the end, like, even if he gets one win, you still need to capitalize it. Like, maybe that's who Jay loses the Intercontinental title to.
Yeah,
I don't know. But, like, he needs to capitalize. Like, even if he beats Rollins and goes back to just being below mid-card, then it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, what a waste. I mean, no, exactly. I don't think he goes after the world title necessarily, but yeah, if it's not Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, a different Braun, would be totally fine with me. Have him lose it to Bronson Reed at the end of the year. So, nice consolation prize if nothing else. NXT and CW premiere from Tuesday. Just want to get your quick thoughts on that. Roxanne beating Julia. Cora Jade came back. Couple different cameos, like from Bianca, Jade. Nothing too shocking, really, but they had a couple main roster stars on the show. Trick Williams, new NXT champion. New title belts, which I actually really like to give me a big UFC vibe. That might be among the best, if not the best NXT championship belt they've ever had, in my opinion. I look back at the other designs, and I thought it was really cool. Wesley and Zachary Wentz, really good street fight. Wesley winning that. The rest of the show was okay. It wasn't a great show, I didn't think, but I thought it was enjoyable enough. So if you caught any of it, Mr. Marceau, just want to get your quick thoughts on NXT from the CW premiere on Tuesday.
I thought it was good. I was a little shocked that Julia didn't win, but the whole Cora Jade interference was good, and I think that made sense. And like you said, if she didn't win, then that meant Trick won, so Trick won there. So once that happened, we put 2 and 2 together, and Trick won the title in the main event. And like you said, I like the titles. I think the titles look nice. They're kind of more like the old UFC titles.
Yeah. That's what
but I think they look good. They're like simple but clean. So thought it was a good start to the CW era, and see where we go from there.
I agree. They got as part of this new era, they got what is it? Lil Wayne and 2 Chainz as the new theme song for NXT. I assume you're a fan of that type of music, but maybe not so much.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah, I know I'm more of a rock guy, but I'm not sitting there complaining. At least listen, you know what? It's better than Def Rebel nonsense. I know Def Rebel's got some good themes, but it's nice that they're using a lot of licensed artists. I mean, Megan Thee Stallion thing, excuse me. I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but you know, them using Megan Thee Stallion, listen, it's not my type of music personally, but it's better than generic Def Rebel garbage. I couldn't even tell you what the SmackDown theme was previously, so, you know, at least it's a step in the right direction. Even if you don't like it. Last thing here for you, Mr. Marceau, we got Bad Blood on Saturday in Atlanta. We were talking about the ticket prices, but you know what? I mean, a lot of those ticket prices are inflated, and it just sounds ridiculous. But I do think this will be a good show. They kind of stacked this little undercard B-level pay-per-view with a lot of nice matches. Our first domestic non-international B show in a long time. I don't know, since Fastlane, maybe a year ago. We've had a lot of B pay-per-views this year, like Backlash and all this other shit, but they've always been in France or Australia or Germany. This one's in Atlanta, but I think it will be a good show. One question, though, before we get to the actual card. Only 5 matches are advertised, which I think is fine for the international shows, and I've always preached less is more. But I think you can afford to throw on a 6 match here. I mean, we're not in fucking Germany where they take 30 minutes for the entrances, I don't think. I mean, they could totally afford to add a last-minute match. If they're not going to add Gunther and Sami, which they didn't, what I would do personally, and I don't think they will because it's the day before the show, they should add LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes, and Andrade for the United States Championship triple threat. They're probably going to do it on SmackDown, but those guys deserve the pay-per-view slot. Andrade and Hayes have had an awesome feud. Night's over. Just put it on the fucking show. They're not going to, but do you think that's any possibility we see that added to the card, or probably they just stick with 5?
I would just stick with 5. To me, it doesn't totally matter. I'm not paying to be there, so I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I
think what they have is good enough, and I feel like you could flesh out some of these matches, so it's not like... Okay. I think it's fine, honestly.
All right. Well, with the matches that are advertised, Nia Jackson-Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship, I think this is the most predictable match on the show. Bayley gets the belt back. No, I'm just kidding. Nia Jax will retain, I think. You know, people asking, does Tiffany cash in? I don't think so. I think it's still too soon for that. I know Nia choked out Tiffany on SmackDown last week. People were going crazy over that. I don't think that happens here. I think they save that for later on. Maybe she tries to interfere and Naomi stops her, but I still think Nia retains the title and they continue on with the Nia-Tiffany thing over the Money in the Bank briefcase and the women's title. So, did Nia win here, or do you got Bayley going over?
No, I think Nia wins here. I think it's probably the most predictable match. I'll say that. I wouldn't say there's a cash in. I feel like they're spicing that up a little bit, so see what we get out of that. But I have Nia here. Yeah,
I think it's the most logical outcome. Damian Priest and Finn Balor. I don't know, honestly, who of the two needs to win more. I mean, Damian lost the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam, but, you know, he's white hot right now. They've been booking him well. He and Rhea went over at Bash in Berlin. Finn Balor, he's been a lot of talk lately. A lot of talk from Balor about, you know, you were my friend and you shouldn't have trusted me, blah, blah, blah. I stabbed you in the back. But if he goes in there and loses, then the feud is pretty much over. And if it's over, it's over. But I feel like it does have more legs than this. So I'm going to say Damian loses here and Finn Balor picks up the win. But what do you think of Mr. Marceau? Balor or Priest going over in this matchup?
I think it's going to be Finn. Like you said, I think they've been booking Damian. He's just been white hot, and I think Finn needs to win more. So, I mean, I think Finn wins here and he can continue it going. But I think Finn needs it here.
Yeah, I think he needs to win more. In order to keep the feud alive, put more heat on him. And they've got good heat on Raw, but, you know, in order to really establish him, he's not going to be a bigger player. It's fucking Finn Balor at this point. He's just kind of where he is in the card. I think Damian has a higher ceiling at this point in his career, but I do think Finn Balor should win the first match since the feud started. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, the other Judgment Day drama matchup for the Women's World Championship. Dominic Mysterio in a shark cage. Before I give my prediction, I'll throw it to you, Mr. Marceau. Who do you think goes over here?
What a prick. Oh, God. I was really hoping you went first. It kind of made me sway me one way or the other.
Yep. No, you're up. You're in the hot seat.
Ah, damn it. Shit. I feel like we've gone 2 heels back to back. I feel like Liv should win, but I feel like Rhea might. I'll say I'm going to go with Liv.
Okay. So the feud's not over, or is this it, you think?
It's over.
Feud's
Liv
over.
wins, and she moves on.
Wow. Okay. I think I will piggyback off of that, but I will add on to it. And I may have mentioned this last week. I don't know where I talked about this.
You mentioned it last week. I think I know where you're going.
Yeah. I think I mentioned. I think I did. I think we talked about this. I forget who I talked to about certain shit. But yeah, I think Liv wins, even though Dom's in the shark cage. I mean, listen, did that stop James Ellsworth or Chris Jericho in years past? The answer is no. I mean, they fucking interfered anyway. But I feel like that's probably going to happen. I think Raquel Rodriguez could come back here. I know Dominic, or was it Dom? I think was on the phone on Raw in the beginning of the show, and Finn said, listen, I got a plan. Were they talking about something that happened on Raw? I mean, maybe. I don't think so. I think they were talking about Raquel coming back and costing Rhea the win. And I don't know if she joins Judgment Day or if she's just a part of Liv and Dom's little faction there. I think she did very well as the heavy in NXT for Dakota Kai for as long as that lasted for her. I think she got over in that role. She excelled in that role. Start from scratch on the main roster because she's been boring as fuck as a babyface. And I like Raquel. She's nice and, she's a good worker and she was getting over at certain points, but she's just not interesting in her current role. So turn her heel, have her help Liv win. And then I think Rhea will get the belt back at some point, but it just won't be right now. So I do agree, though, regardless, I think Liv will retain the championship here. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns versus the Bloodline Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. I just can't see a scenario where, one, Roman gets pinned, but I think even that's more likely than Cody getting pinned again. We just saw Solo pin him at Money in the Bank. It'd be fucking dumb for him to lose again. Jacob Fatu pinning Cody would be cool, but it's like, does that set up Cody and Jacob? He's not going to win the belt. Jacob pinning Roman would be sick, but I just don't see that happening. I think Cody and Roman go over in Cody's native Atlanta, and I think that will set up Roman and Solo for Crown Jewel. I know Cody said on the Pat McAfee show, there's going to be a video package that has title implications for Crown Jewel. I don't know if that has to do with this match. I think that's something completely separate. I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. But, I'm going to say babyfaces reign supreme. What do you say, Mr. Marceau?
Yeah, I think it's a tough one because I feel like they said Roman and Cody probably should win, but I feel like the heels also should get a win, too. It's a tough one, honestly. Do we get a new member of the Bloodline? So
this is where Hikuleo debuts, maybe.
Yeah, so it's like, I feel like, and if it's like the end of the show, I feel like that should happen. I'm going to go with the heels. I feel like you said, I think maybe Roman could lose. Maybe there's some, you said, either interference or maybe, accidental issue going on. Maybe Roman accidentally spears Cody, and then there's some extra shenanigans. I think the heels win. Keep some heat on them.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with that.
Who do you think wins, or who do you think takes the pin, though, of the two?
Roman.
Wow, okay, Roman takes the
he'll job for his cousin.
That is true.
Rikishi will be there in the front row. He'll do it.
Yeah, they won't riot because he's losing to a fellow member of the NOI family. Do we see Jimmy Uso maybe come back? I don't think so. I don't think the show needs him, but people have been wondering, when's Jimmy Uso coming back? He has this aura that we need him on the show, but, I don't think this is it, right?
No, I think you save him till, if there's another guy in the other Bloodline team, I think that's when Roman's going to need some help, so that's when I think you call Jimmy up.
Yeah, maybe closer to War Games with the $500 tickets in Vancouver in a couple months. I could see that happening. CM Punk.
That's worth price admission alone, Jimmy Uso. That's worth $500.
I'll say this. I think. Oh my God!
Jesus, don't die. He gets such a big Jimmy Uso mark. He's about to die over there.
About to croak. You're talking about Jimmy Uso. I think not Jimmy Uso's worth the price of admission. I think his theme song is worth $500 a ticket just to hear that in person. The fucking aura of that song. I listen to that song all the time. It's such a good song, and then I have to remember it's for Jimmy Uso.
He was born a king.
It's just so funny how fickle fans are, because it's like, man, I see these tweets almost every day. Man, I miss Jimmy. Jimmy's so great. Bro, when he was around 6 months ago, people were like, this guy's the biggest fucking loser on the planet. So make up your fucking mind. It's just so funny. Absence
he was
Darko
his
Thunder.
credit. I mean, I don't know if it's his credit, but he was booked horribly.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But let's be fair though. That match at Mania was mid as fuck. The one with Jey Uso. I mean, that was
mid. It was trash. I don't even go mid. It was terrible. And
that ain't even a what's it called? That ain't even a booking issue. That's just the match sucked issue. So I mean, listen, I like Jimmy.
The problem realistically was they both had the same moveset, and like I said, also didn't help the fact that Jimmy was a glorified loser before it even happened.
Yeah, they just spammed the super kick for 10 minutes, and
he was getting knocked out by slaps by Meechin 2 weeks before. Like people gave a fuck.
Yeah. Oh man, I will pop though when he comes back, but you just got to put the fans in their place sometimes for being fickle. Punk McIntyre, Hell in a Cell. Who goes over, Mr. Marcel? I'm putting you in the hot seat again.
I hate you.
This could go either way too.
I think Punk wins. I think he needs to win more. I'm going Punk.
Okay. I'm going Punk too. I could see Drew winning because Punk won the last one. I do think Punk wins. Bonus question, what main events? And I know it's going to piss me off if it's not Hell in a Cell. I know you don't give a shit.
Stop being a little baby boy and Roman and Cody main events easily.
I'm a CM Punk.
Like it should.
I'm a Punk crybaby this month, not a Cody crybaby. I'm a different crybaby in the month of October. I think Punk should headline, not the tag team match. No stakes. Well, I mean, I guess Cody said there might be stakes, but it should be Hell in a Cell.
There are stakes. It's Cody and Roman, the two biggest guys in the company.
I just don't understand how you could kick off the show with a bloody, and they promised blood like 3 times, a bloody Hell in a Cell match, and then close with fucking Roman and Solo exchanging headlocks. I just don't get that.
I'd pay more money to see that than $600.
Wow. Then for the Hell in a Cell match in the main event.
Yes.
That's the only way you're paying $600 for a ticket is if the tag team match
I'm here to see the main event with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. I'm not paying $600 to watch Punk and McIntyre main event.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hot take there. Hot take. We'll talk about it next week here on the show. New episodes every Thursday. WrestleRant.com, WrestleRantRadio.com. Rate the show, review the show.
.com is .com.
Yeah, Tony Khan. I know. I'm listen. Jimmy Uso still fucked me up after we were discussing his return.
Kid's so bent out of shape about Jimmy Uso can't say .com, people.
I can't even say it properly. I'm still choked up from that Jimmy Uso return. If you hear an ambulance in the background on Saturday, when you hear ooh, so I was born a kid, it's for me in Connecticut going nuts watching this show for Jimmy fucking Uso. Now I gotta go fucking stream that song as soon as we're done.
Go listen to it now too.
I gotta go listen. Yeah, now that I bring it up, I gotta go fucking binge that song. Enjoy the weekend, Mr. Marceau. Enjoy Bad Blood. I'll catch up with you next week.
Later, man.
See you, pal.
Join Graham, GSM Matthews, and RJ Marceau every Thursday as they run down their weekly wrestling rants, offer expert analysis, host exclusive interviews, and more. Subscribe today on all your favorite podcast platforms and never miss an episode of WrestleRant Radio.